Hi, I'm Amber.
And I'm Carissa.
And half of our DNA is identical. Welcome to my channel. My name is Amber, and this channel is a place where I track my adventures towards being on the mission field. I'm headed to Honduras, but along the way I like to learn about all sorts of people and all sorts of cultures, and that brings me to why this lovely person is with me today. This is Carissa, and believe it or not, you might have picked this up from the intro, but we're cousins!
With identical twin dads.
Yes, our dads are identical twins, so technically half of our DNA is the same, which means we share the same kind of DNA that siblings do, which is kind of weird to think about, isn't it?
It's funny. We're like the white and Asian version of each other.
Yeah, see, the reason we don't look more alike is because my mom is American with a background of different European countries, and Carissa's
mom
mom
is Filipino.
Yeah. So I've talked a little bit before about my Filipino aunt. If you haven't watched my video, 7 Ways Asian Culture Has Influenced Me, I'll link it in the description box. I mentioned it there that having an Asian side of the family has influenced me throughout my life, but excuse me. Today I'm super excited because Carissa is going to talk to us a bit about what it's like to be in a family where you have two cultures blended together. So let's get started. You ready?
Yes.
Let's start with a little bit of your story. Tell me how long you were in the Philippines and then how old you were when you came here.
Okay, so I was born in the Philippines and lived there until I was 3, and then I moved to America for a year on furlough, and then we moved back, and then I was there from 4 to 7, so I moved here when I was in like 1st grade.
Now, I think I should point out that Carissa is also an MK, which stands for Missionary Kid, so she had that aspect of growing up there as well, not just having two different cultures, but yeah. So if you hear her referencing different things like furlough and things like that, that's why. A furlough is when a missionary comes off of the field where they're living for a short period of time to rest up or to work on something they need to work on in the United States. So yeah, I remember you being back here on furlough a couple of times, and I was like, yay, I get to meet my cousin, because like she was born in the Philippines. So you were how old when I met you? 4?
Yeah, probably 4 or 3.
I missed your childhood. I want to go through different things that are part of a culture and ask you which aspects you relate more to, like the Filipino side of your upbringing or the American side of your upbringing when it comes to different cultures, aspects of culture. So, food. What do you lean towards in food?
So, I love like a lot of like all Filipino food, and I think I definitely lean towards like the Asian style of like food, or because like sometimes American food is a little bland. Sorry guys, but like they don't add all the crazy spices in there, and then like I mean, I feel like a lot of my mother's cooking is a lot of just like throwing in whatever spices, and it normally ends up tasting really good instead of just like, you know, salt and pepper. Like, not to be stereotypical about like, but yeah, I think I definitely lean towards like Filipino food.
So good.
It's so good.
I love your mom's cooking so
Me
much.
too.
I know that you can. You were telling me about this a couple months ago, how like some of the language comes back to you when you hear it, and some of it doesn't. Like, where are you on that?
Yeah, it's weird. So I like grew up learning English and Tagalog or Filipino, you can call it Filipino or Tagalog at the same time, and I like, so both were my first languages, but then when I moved back to America, like I forgot them. But it's weird because it's my first language I learned, so when I went back to the Philippines, I started understanding things a lot faster than I expected to. And like Amber pointed this out, but like whenever I would talk to Filipinos, my accent would change, so I would start talking like this, and I would like start saying, like, if I was doing a Bible study, I would start talking like this, and like, I don't know, just like, I can't even do it as well now, but in the Philippines I could like put on a Filipino accent and they would understand me like better.
It's true. I was watching videos of her in the Philippines. They went back for a visit this 2017, if that's last year now, and I would watch videos and I'd be like, Carissa, where'd that accent come from?
I don't know. Because in the Philippines, like, there's so much traffic everywhere you go. Like, nobody listens to the road signs. I think it's getting better now because the president is kind of trying to make people listen to everything very intensely. But yeah, Amber said that, like, when we came back, my sister, like, looked out of the window of the car and was like, where are all the people? And then Amber was like, there's a bunch, we just passed a bunch of cars, and it's, but to me too, I remember that was the first thing I remembered when I came here. I was like, why is everyone driving so fast? Because like in the Philippines, you can't drive that fast because there's so much traffic,
Bumper
like,
to bumper.
you just slow, you know. So, like, a lot of times they'll ask you questions that in America are considered so rude. And I remember, I think in middle school, I asked my teacher, I was like, how much do you make? And then they were like, I don't feel comfortable asking that. And I was like, why? It's just like a question. It's like, what's the problem? But I realized you're not supposed to ask people how much they make, and you're not supposed to talk about weight. And then in the Philippines, they'll tell you, they say, oh, you're looking a little chubby, or oh, you need to eat more. Like, they'll like talk about your weight like that in like the Philippines, and it's like not as offensive. So that's even something that I still carry with me now. Like with my friends, I'm like, hey, can I be Filipino for a second? And then like, they'll be like, yeah, and I'm like, how much did you make for that? Or like, how much like does that cost? Or like, can I know? And normally my good friends, I don't care because I do the same. I tell them things, so yeah. I keep the whole like late aspect of things. Like I'm Filipino culture, it's like very late. So my mom says like if you want to have people like at a certain time at your house, like say it an hour ahead of time, because like I watch this all the time. Like people will come like an hour or 2 hours late, or like 30 minutes from anywhere from 30 minutes to like a 2 hours difference of like from the original time of the party. So I keep that. I'm very like, oh, it doesn't matter, like whatever time I'll get there. Yeah. It's very encouraged to be like performy in the Philippines. So like if my mom would always say, oh, like perform this thing that you learned, because I would like watch YouTubers when I was in middle school a lot that I thought were funny, and then so I would learn their whole like the whole YouTube video they would say, and then I learned it and like would act it out by myself because I was like, I like performing. And then my mom would like, when friends would come over, she'd say, oh, perform that thing, and I would do it, and it's just like not weird, I guess. It's just my experience.
You're a nice blend of both. Like watching you, I don't know if you think about it, but watching you feel like very fluid. Like you just whatever. You know? And part of that might be personality too.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Go with the flow.
So I don't know what's the mixture between what's like my personality or what's just like me being Filipino. Kind of.
Well, do you think about it very often?
No. I don't really think so. I don't think so. Yeah.
I've met a mixture. Like sometimes I meet folks that are, you know, a blend of two cultures, and they're like very obsessed with that.
Yeah.
But most of the time when I meet folks that are from two different cultures, they're just like, that's just part of life. Like I don't think about it very much. It's just who I am.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. And honestly, I've also been thinking about this, and tell me your thoughts on this. I think a lot of people, most people, are actually a blend of two cultures, because how often do your parents come from the exact same background?
Yeah.
Like even my family, you know, mom and dad are from two extremely different cultures, even though they both grew up in America.
Yeah.
And so I've got, you know, two different sides of influence. I guess it's just more emphasized and it's easier to spot in your situation because it's just, there are more external signs of these are two different cultures, especially when you live in both countries.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not that weird to have two different cultures. Most of us have it. Speaking of which, comment below which two cultures your family comes from. I'd be interested to know how many people actually have two different sides of the track there in their family.
So another Filipino difference is like, I remember, okay, we went swimming at this like place or whatever, and then after I was gonna be speaking at this thing, and then the girl I was with, she's like, are you gonna put on makeup? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I was going to. She's like, okay, just checking. And then like every time I would go out, my mom would say, oh, Krista, put on some lipstick, or like put on makeup. And then I was like, why do I have to like look so fancy? Because you know in America a lot of times you can sport the athleisure style, like wear a t-shirt and like your like sports attire or like whatever.
Or go to Walmart in your PJs.
Yeah, and it's like not weird. And like it's been encouraged here to like not feel like you need to wear makeup. But in the Philippines, like everywhere I was going, they're like, oh, are you gonna like wear makeup? And I was like, okay, I guess I will now. I wasn't planning on it, but and I remember I like was in the Philippines, and I was like, Mom, I'm like so offended that you would like tell me that I need to wear makeup. That's just like, you think I don't look good the way that I am, blah blah blah, like me being really dramatic. And then she was like, Chris, I'm just telling you that because I know they'll tell you if I don't. And I was like, okay. And so that's kind of with the culture again, like don't assume people are trying to be offensive. Like you might be offended if someone tells you like, oh, you need to wear makeup, like, because I was. But assume that it's like, again, give them the benefit of the doubt that it's kind of from their culture, not from them like trying to be rude. But it's just like, my mom doesn't do that in America. She's not like, oh, Chris, are you gonna like whatever, but she knows there that that's something that they look for more. So yeah.
Not everybody may be used to interacting with people from different cultures. So if you were meeting somebody who hadn't had the experience before of talking to somebody who has had experiences that they haven't had, grown up in a way they're not familiar with, and they feel uncomfortable or awkward, and they're not sure, like, is it okay to ask you questions, or, you know, how should I just ignore it and pretend like we're exactly the same even though we're not because we have different backgrounds? There's all these thoughts that could potentially be going through their head. What would you want to say to somebody like that?
Here's my words of wisdom. I don't know, but I guess don't feel so awkward about it. Like, you don't have to be like, oh my goodness, like, is this okay? I think so many people get, like, scared of just, like, I mean, this could, again, be from the culture that I'm from where it's not weird to ask questions, but, like, don't be so scared of, like, asking people questions, or, and then don't also be shocked whenever someone from another culture does something that seems offensive to you, or, like, shocking. Just, like, give them the benefit of the doubt that it's just because they grew up differently than you did.
You may be shocking them, too. You never know.
Yeah. And so, I just say, like, give yourself grace, and, like, don't feel so, like, guilty, like, scared that you're, like, doing something wrong, because that's hard for friendships if you're just, like, always scared of everything you say and stuff. But just, like, a normal friend, like, where it takes time to get to know them, it takes time to be really comfortable with them, like, that's what another person from another culture would be like, but maybe just, like, a little more time or a little more effort, you know?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So we are going so long, there's so much I want to talk about. We're going to have to split this into 2 parts. So we're going to say goodbye for the moment, and I will upload this part 2 soon. Please give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed having Carissa on here and you want to keep on going and have her back again.
Comment below. I don't know if that's what they say on YouTube sometimes.
I don't know what I'm saying. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and comment below if you have experience with having to shift cultures and be a third culture kid or whatever you call it. Alright, so part 2 is coming up. Stay tuned. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Hi everybody. If you watched to the end of this video, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. Every video is a little bit different because it just follows the things that I'm interested in my life, whether it's trying new foods or interviews like the one you just watched, or just my adventures as I'm moving on to the mission field. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I would love to have you along for further adventures.